Here, I made a mistake during the show. I said that it would be Bayern against Manchester City.
But you didn't know because you were reading something at the time. And so sometimes we do that. You're reading things, you don't realise what you've said. And then when I said to you, Man City, you went, it was when you went like that. Yeah, send me Bayern Man City.
Yes.
And you went, look,
double down.
And then actually, I started doubting myself.
I was like,
did I watch that?
Just kept going for it. Oh dear, it's my anti-Real Madrid ways, you see. That's it.
Yeah. I think you were what to say. No, we shouldn't say that because we're just objective.
I don't really mind. My son supports City.
Well, I don't care. I'm not be here. I won't be here when the Champions League finals on from a very selfish point of view.
All right, thank you.
What's that got to do with it?
Thank you for the heads up.
I don't care who's in it.
Right, good. That's just going to be it now. When it comes to the Champions League final preview,
I won't be
don't
here.
care. I'm not here. I'm playing golf.
Although I haven't had my holidays approved, I'm just being very
presumptuous.
I'm being very presumptuous.
Oh yeah.
Well, no,
optimistic.
I'm going
Funny if they turned it down. So no, we need
Go
you.
on then, turn it down.
We need you to go to Wembley to cover Bayern, Borussia Dortmund.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'll do the show from a hotel in Leeds.
Okay, all right, beautiful.
Robbo wants to go to his bed.
Poor Robbo.
I was in early. Let's go.
Okay, all right then. Once all the subs were made, the match changed and it
You
seemed...
need glasses.
I don't need glasses.
Well, stop. You've got your nose in the paint. Driving me nuts.
No, because if I need glasses, you'd be like this, wouldn't you? Right. Once all the subs were made, the match changed, and it seemed the huge amount of experience Real Madrid put on made a difference to get it to penalties. Do you agree, Robbo?
Well, he made some strange substitutions, and we talked about it in the show. He took off Erling Haaland, which, although he wasn't playing well, he's still the person you expect to score. Kevin De Bruyne went off as well, who's obviously, he would have taken one of the penalties, I'd imagine. Grealish was taken off mainly because Doku gave them more pace down that left-hand side. Modric came on, and I think he had more of an effect than Kroos did at when he came on. But I wasn't sure that's why it went to extra time. I think Man City still should have made more of the half chances and the possession they had. They still dominated extra time without creating enough chances, without slinging the ball in the box, which they couldn't do without Haaland playing. So,
what does it feel like to lose a game you completely dominated like City did today?
Happens.
Yeah.
Happened in the Old Firm game quite a few times. Not only when I played, but before, when Tommy Burns, the late Tommy Burns, was the manager at Celtic. They dominated Rangers in terms of possession in games, time and time again, particularly when Di Canio and Van Hooijdonk and all those guys were there. And then we did something similar, and then the guy I talked about in the show, Ali McCoist, would pop up, score a goal, and all of a sudden you felt like you'd been punched in the nose. But that's the game's not about stats.
I'm just being told that Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland were asked to be taken off.
No way.
Apparently, that's what Pep Guardiola has said after the game.
They asked to be taken off. Right, get Jurgen back. get everybody back. Production back.
What?
Stop. No, actually.
No, let's not get crazy.
Yeah, not get carried away.
What? Yeah.
No, I'm not. No. I've never, ever. That's a never. Knowing a player, unless they're injured, even then.
Well, it must have been an injury thing or fatigue thing, surely.
Fatigue.
Yeah.
Fatigue. Quarter-final Champions League. Every big games, you play on until you drop. When Carvajal had to come off because he had to come off. He was booked. He was on.
Rudiger ripped his leg off.
Tried to stretch him for the cramp a little aggressively.
I mean, I know De Bruyne has been missed a lot of the season, right? Still, I can't.
This is what he said, Robbo. Erling and Kevin asked me to go out like Manu. They could not continue.
I can imagine it a little bit with Kevin De Bruyne because he's had an injury a few weeks ago, and I thought he ran all over the park, and he was still probably Man City's most dangerous player, and I thought he was quite energetic. So I can understand if he was absolutely shattered and thought that he couldn't run for the team anymore. But I couldn't say that with Erling Haaland because he hadn't done a lot of running. He was standing up front and didn't get hold of the ball very much. So I couldn't understand why he went off. Well, we do have to remember also that Rodrigo and Vinicius Junior went off for Real Madrid. So they took off their two most dangerous players.
Well, right, but the difference there is that Real Madrid were hanging on and defending for as best as they possibly could. And if we know something about Vini Jr. and Rodrigo is that they're not going to give you a whole lot of work defensively, and whatever work they're going to give you defensively is not going to be high quality. And so I think it's a different type of substitution. In regards to how Real Madrid handled the game, it was the only option that they had, because once they made those substitutions and removing the attacking players, there really wasn't an option to go on a counter-attack. And the couple of times that they broke free, Nacho at one point started dribbling forward, and it's like, well, who do I pass the ball to?
Yes.
And as he gets his head up, there's nobody ahead of him, and eventually loses the ball, and that's how Real Madrid played the extra time.
Imagine how Jan is with all this.
I think
Oh,
we need to get Fjortov on the bat phone now.
yes, get
him on
Fjortov.
the bat phone straight away. I don't care if he's sitting in the bog. I don't care. Let's get him on.
He's probably in bed.
Perish the thought. Now listen, by the way, that's going to keep us going. I would say for 6 months, no. But you know, I'm not having that. I'm not having it, right? Erling Haaland is in his early 20s, played 90 minutes only. Are we saying he can't play anymore? Is he asking to come off? He had to be injured. There has to be something. Kevin De Bruyne, as Robbo said, has had injuries.
Yeah.
But if there's one man that's been taken off recently and has looked like he wanted to rip his manager's head off, it's him.
Yes.
So do you think then he's going to ask to come off against Real Madrid? There's more to that story.
Well, here we are. That's.
I'm not coming in tomorrow to discuss it.
I don't think you're invited. Oh, by the way, speaking of coming in, Robbo, guess who came to work today when he wasn't supposed to be here?
Stevie Nicol.
Yes!
And 2 and 2 makes 4.
100%.
Yes.
Did he move his glasses up and down and what's going on?
I saw him in the car park. I was like, what are you doing here? And he goes, I'm on today, I'm off tomorrow. And I said, it's in Liverpool tomorrow. Anyway, there we go. He went home, so he'll be back with you tomorrow to talk about that. As a man who's an expert on this, Ali, should Manchester City have taken more shots from outside the box?
I like the joke there, Dan.
Yeah, worked in the first leg, obviously.
Yeah, well, yes,
and
how many times did Manchester City pass that ball around the 18-yard box and then just kind of try to walk their way into the box and running into a whole lot of numbers? Well, one way that you can do, we talked about swinging the ball in, and if you're not going to have the big guy up front, Erling Haaland, for whatever the circumstances were that he was off the field, well, one way that you can try to minimize the presence of Real Madrid in the 18-yard box and actually force them to come out is
have a shot
from distance. And then they step to you, and that opens up a passing lane. It seems rather obvious, but not for Manchester City. It's not part of their personality, I suppose. So many times the ball popped out to Rodri, who has a good shot from distance, to his right foot, one in particular in the second half, where it pops out to his right foot. Okay, he's going to step to hit it, and now he cuts to his left foot away from goal, and now he hits it, and obviously mishits it, and it's a missed opportunity. But there wasn't enough of an impetus of Manchester City taking shots from distance. I agree.
Robbo, do you consider this a masterclass in defence by Real Madrid?
I wouldn't say it was a masterclass because I still wonder what would happen in the game or how the game would have panned out if Real Madrid hadn't scored quite so early. After 12 minutes, that dictated. Because up until that point, they were trying to press the ball higher up the field. They were trying to play a bit more attacking football. They scored the goal, and that almost said, right, now Man City can have the ball. Can they break us down? And I would say a masterclass in defending by the back four. I know Carvajal got beaten on several occasions, but he still worked hard. He still got blocks in. And then when he was under pressure, they brought Valverde back to play as almost as a right wing back, and he tucked in to make a third centre half. I thought Rudiger, as we talked about in the show, was absolutely magnificent. Remember the block when it looked as though the left-sided player, Jack Grealish, was going to get his shot away, and he just got slightly a block on it. Nacho, I thought, was quick and determined and good. And Mendy had one of his best games. And Camavinga did a decent job in front of him. So it was a masterclass by the back five, I would say. Some of the other players didn't defend quite so well.
People get carried away, don't they, when it's like this? And it happens all the time.
What, you see things like masterclass?
Yeah, or tactically outdone the manager and all that. And dare I say it, it is mainly journals.
Right.
And what happens is, do you think Carlo Ancelotti went out and said to his team before the game, Jude Bellingham, what I want you to do is barely get a touch.
Right.
Run about all night, not get close to anybody, and defend in the edge of your own box. Sometimes when a team pushes you back, it's all hands to the pump. There's nothing, it's nothing really tactically about it.
Right.
It's just down to nous. And people will say, well, how come other teams don't do it so well? Because other teams don't have 10 people that have the nous of Real Madrid players.
I see.
It's not nothing tactically, just that, they don't set out to be camped in the edge of their own box. They just push back there. then you're at the mercy of two things: a lucky break or an unlucky break, bit of bad defending, some genius from the opposing side that we really only saw once or twice in the game, and Phil Foden missed a really good chance in the first half. Or was it the extra time? I can't remember. On his left foot when a ball was whipped in. I can't remember anyway.
Yes, yeah, when it hit his standing leg.
Hit his standing leg.
Yeah.
He took a swinger at it from a guy who's been excellent. So, and then just downright man-to-man organisation and defending. That's not completely outclassing your opposing manager on the tactics front. That's just rolling your sleeves up and having the guts to try and get to the semi-finals. That's what Real Madrid, they had the guts. They put everything on the line and they prayed that none of the Man City players would poke one in the top corner like Foden did in the Bernabeu, and that never happened tonight.
We know Craig doesn't care, but I will ask you.
Ask me anyway. Ask me.
With today's results,
Ask me.
who do you see as the favourites to win the Champions League?
I'm going to Leeds.
Ali, yes, there it is. Good, we're going to hear this.
Well, I picked
See you in
that.
Leeds, Robbo.
I made a mistake of picking against Real Madrid.
Yes.
I'm not doing that again.
Real Madrid?
Real Madrid, all the way.
Yeah, what? You don't get to play.
Yeah, I'm going to Leeds.
Robbo?
Real Madrid, they're gonna win the Champions League.
Real Madrid
La
PSG
Liga.
final, Kylian Mbappe. Oh my goodness,
no.
imagine it.
Through.
Oh.
He goes past Lunin,
Yeah.
right, and he's on the line, and he thinks Florentino's going to kill me.
Yeah.
What does he do?
Well, he kicks it out. Then Jules runs onto the pitch.
All right, let's embellish this. Jules runs on. He's
Jules
crying.
runs on.
He's crying anyway. 'cause
He's
he
crying.
Thinks he's leaving.
Yep. Gab's running as well, checking about financial fair play.
Jules is filming it because one of these lots tried to get him on the live show.
Yes.
And Mbappe will go down injured. He won't play. He'll go down injured.
Oh, yeah. There you go, Robbo.
I tell you who else gets injured is Gab if he goes running.
Is Gab running?
Gab's running onto the pitch.
Gab's running onto the pitch.
Ali, I've got to tell you, I've got to correct your mistake here. I was in the DoubleTree down the road from you in the studio, and 3 mornings on the trot. Who was on the treadmill? Gab Marcotti.
Okay, let's
Working-
move on for the.
working
No, he's not
really
here
hard.
today. Right, let's move on. Right, don't start. Let's do this. This is another end of the season where Arsenal look tired and they lose their sharpness. Robbo.
Hold on.
It's Arteta.
That wasn't when there was there was an earthquake in New York recently.
Is Arteta running his players into the ground? Shut up! By barely rotating them, Robbo.
Ooh, I don't know. He's running into the ground. They were doing really well until about 2 weeks ago. And then, as I said on the show, I think they're an emotional team. They play with confidence when they're doing well, and as soon as they have a blip, they maybe not do very well in the next couple of games. They did that just before Christmas, and they've done it now. At the most important time, they didn't play well against Bayern Munich in the first game. After the first 20 minutes, they didn't play well against Aston Villa, and they didn't play well tonight. So I just think they've just lost a little bit of confidence and that belief in their own ability.
Robbo, does today's highlight even more the need for a top striker at Arsenal?
Maybe so, yeah, because Jesus isn't playing particularly well at the moment. He did really, really well for Arsenal when he first came. Everybody thought he'd turned a corner and he was going to be the player that he never really showed at Man City. Havertz, I don't think, is a centre forward of the highest quality, so they do need a top-class striker or a striker that's brilliant in the air, and that's why they're looking at Tony, I'd imagine.
Must have been some questions that have been filtered out. I honestly, I would be surprised if there was not any questions. And you might be. Have you any left?
I've got 2 left, yeah. Why? Where are you going? Is one about your dog?
What dog?
Chatting at other people's dog walking ways?
What?
Robbo, Mr. Burley got very angry on Twitter today because people have been walking their dogs outside his house.
How dare they? How
Yeah,
dare they?
what? I mean, surely not. Outside the mansion? Oh, my good gracious. Did they get past the moat?
I sent the staff down. I sent my staff down to warn them. Next time I will go down myself. We must have had a numerous amount of people asking questions. You know, the smart arses.
About the Premier League, is that where you're going?
When Spanish teams go out, it's about Spain.
Yes.
And Italy. And it's all the same. And it's
Right.
all very dull and boring.
Okay, so, well, maybe we didn't put that question in because we didn't want it to be dull and boring.
But once we might have somebody sensible.
Okay.
Although that's a stretch.
Right, okay.
Behind the scenes.
Right, there we go.
Filtering these things out.
Okay, so you really could have gone without saying it about it at all. Not mention it at all. And we could get these 2 questions.
Why?
Go home.
Why?
Well, why? Because you're bringing up something you didn't want to bring up, and you were happy that it
What
wasn't
else I didn't
brought
want to
up.
bring up? Having to rubbish that this Arsenal team is better than the Invincibles.
Oh, that
a few
was last
days
week's
ago.
weird discussion,
That
wasn't
was
it?
brought up in the show, and I
Yes.
was like, holy smokes, this is a new low.
Yes.
This Arsenal team that have won nothing yet, really, are they better than the Invincibles? Because there was a story on the website about it. As if I give a stuff what's on the website.
Well, you're busy shouting at people through your door.
I mean, if you write a story...
Keep walking!
Friendly neighbour that you are.
I thought since he became a granddad, he was a changed man, but obviously not.
Well,
Right, comments on Lunin,
Robbo,
please.
let me tell you, I was a granddad 9 years ago.
There we
Things
go.
changed
yeah.
then.
Right, okay, 2 more questions. Comments on Lunin. He's been very good this season. You all right? What's wrong?
Psych myself up for a big finish. Go on then. I'm out of here.
So you're preparing for birth there for a second.
Right. Look, Lunin gets a slow cat.
I know. Luning actually wasn't even supposed to be the guy.
No,
because
Kepa.
once Thibaut Courtois went down, then they said, well, we'll bring in Kepa. And we were having the conversation back then. It's like, I don't know, man. Kepa, I don't know.
Yep.
And sure enough, Kepa managed to make that very clear that he wasn't the guy. And since Luning has been in, I tell you what I can say about him, he's been consistent. He makes the save that he's supposed to make. Every once in a while makes a great save. Today was great in the penalty kick shootout. That's all you want from a guy that is not supposed to be your number 1 or your number 2. This guy was the number 3 goalkeeper, and now he is key to the success of Real Madrid in Champions League. Yeah, he's been great.
How many people are doing Panenkas now? Going forward.
Well, after the bananas it wasn't even a Panenka, was it? It was just down the middle.
Splitting hairs again, aren't you?
Not really. When you think Panenka, you think dink. This wasn't dink, this was just donk.
What would you know about a dink?
Or a dunk.
I'll tell you what, I'll dink you
This
in
was
it.
just a donk.
I'll dink you in a minute. I'll dink you in it right in the back of the...
Final question, Robbo. Would Tuchel be a good choice to take over Manchester United next season?
No, I've had enough of Tuchel. I'm not sure he'll get in with all the players or the hierarchy. He falls out with everybody. He might have a good little spell for 6 months or so. He's obviously got some coaching credentials, but I'm not sure he's a good man manager or a good manager of the board. So no, not for me.
That is it. We are done. Thank you.